Welcome back, Patriots. We are here for Sleepy Joe's 2024 State of the Union response address. Heck, I don't know what you'd call it, but we're going to have a blast here together as a community of Patriots. You asked for it, and we're here giving you exactly what you wanted. We got some fun stuff lined up, folks, for the State of the Union. We can make it a drinking game, but that one's on you. It is a work week for me, so I'll be having a nice little root beer, all-American brew. But some little fun things we're going to do here. I made y'all a little something. So let me pull it up, though. I hope you guys enjoy this. Hey, Vel, how's it going? Look, you got the popcorn and the wine. I love it. That's a good combo. Folks, right here, we're going to have a little bit of bingo. So I made us a bingo card in Photoshop. There's no better crowd. I'd rather, I love that, Jen. It's good to see you. So, everybody, we got a bingo card here. And I call it Slow Joe Bingo. And we got to see if Joe actually claims one of these sections of the bingo card. And if he does, then as you know, we'll just mark it with an X. So I'm going to kind of walk you through because I think he's going to talk about all these things. You know, blame Republicans. A couple of these are a shoo-in. Especially the first one up there, kind of in the middle under the eye, is shows up late. The guy's renowned for showing up an hour and a half, 2 hours late to things. They're probably unhooking him from his CPAP machine as we speak, trying to roll him out of the bed, get him onto the gurney, and shuffle him down to the Capitol right now. He'll bring up he created 14 million jobs, which is insane. They just started the economy. The card is, well, that's the goal. That's the goal for us here, to try to get this card full. I don't know if we will. I think we can get bingo, but if we can get the card full, we'd be killing it tonight. Mumbles, that's another shoe-in, okay? What's another shoe-in on here? There was, the prescription drugs he's going to bring up. The one I absolutely love, my favorite there, is he's going to fight with this teleprompter. The curious question is, how many times does he fight with this teleprompter? Can Biden spell bingo? Probably not. You know, I'd be curious, and this is something, I don't know if you guys caught this. I'm actually going to release the videotape of it. It's only about a 4-minute clip. We were actually on Anthony Brian Logan's show last night. I called in. I've been on his show a couple times, but a lot of new subscribers from his channel. So if you're part of the ABL show, thank you so much. He has like over 1 million subscribers. So it was a nice little spotlight for us. Love the man. He does great stuff. But something we talked about on his show very briefly was Joe Biden being hopped up on something. You know what I mean? It's so odd to me. He always has like something in his mouth when he's talking, and I think that's either to stop him from coughing Or I don't know if anybody's a nurse or a doctor in here, but is there something you could take in your mouth like that's a pill that makes you more coherent? So I'm just curious on that end. Let's go. Bingo time. Hey, if you guys want to make, I know some people stop drinking. Hey, kudos to you. If you want to make it a drinking game, every time Biden gets one of these, you can take a shot. Like, I'm not advocating for drinking. Like I said, I got my root beer here. It's a work night for me. I got to wake up and teach some kids tomorrow morning, but this thing will probably be empty by the end of the night. Right here, though, Blaine's Republican shoe-in. You got the borders, probably going to bring it up. The junk fees I threw in there, that's something that's a little bit new. I don't know how long it will be till I'm able to listen to it. We'll see. He's supposed to start in 13 minutes. Like I said, that's why we have that up there. Dude's going to come in late, right? He's going to... Oh, that's a little bit too much. Hold on, let's see if we can get out of that a little bit here. He's going to show up late. He's going to mumble. He's going to talk about Ukraine sending them billions of dollars. He's going to talk about the child tax credit, most likely. Oh, so you can see the board. I'm trying to, let's see if we get a little better zoom in. Maybe instead of 100%, we can do... There we go. Maybe you can see that. It's been so full of the special juice cocktail. He's going to bring up Trump. I heard rumors is he's not going to talk about Trump by name, but he'll reference him. So that one's going to be a shoo-in. The economy is going to be a shoo-in because, truthfully, the market's actually doing pretty well, but I think it's a bubble, and that's kind of echoed by a lot of people. Failed joke, that's going to be a shoo-in. He's going to try to get some laughs. Says numbers incorrectly, that's the one I'm looking out for. Joe's known to say billion, trillion, cajillion, and then he's only talking about a few $100s. Newcomers, that one has to do with illegal immigration. So now they're not illegal immigrants. What's going on, Jackie? Hey, Pat, Bennington. Well, welcome, folks. Victory Lane. Newcomers now. So they're not called illegal immigrants anymore. They're called newcomers. So let's see if he says that. Israel, abortion's going to be in there as well. Roe v. Wade for sure. The gets confused as a shoo-in as well. That's just one that get you guys to drink a little bit, to be honest. And then gun violence. I mean, how could you not talk about that? You have... Let me open this up. It's hard to read. I have you guys on my other monitor. Yo, what's up, Brian Mack? Yay! Well, we got a lot of people jumping in right now. Again, we're playing a little bit of a slow Joe bingo tonight. And I'll be kind of manning the ship. Again, if you can't see, hey, that's okay. But this is what we're working with right now with Slow-Mo Joe. I was going to try to title it Slow-Mo Joe, but it didn't really work out that way. Oh, hold on. He's there. You guys see him? He woke up from his nap. Joey's awake. Joey's awake. You know, I should have put CPAT marks. Yeah, he's definitely going to blame Republicans. Oh, yeah, he has to. Wait, is that Samantha? Samantha, did I see you on ABL show last night? Wasn't that you in the chat? Do I have that right? It's good to see all of you guys, too. Look, I read the comments. Y'all wanted to hang up. Oh, okay, so it was Samantha. I was sitting there going, man, I know this name sounds familiar. Love to have you here. Transgender youth. Hey, we got that in there, though. We're kind of slipping some stuff. It's not going to be exact, but I got diversity. We got diversity. CPAP works. Yeah. We got diversity. So diversity is kind of an umbrella for woke. So if he talks about woke, we'll get diversity. If he talks about trans stuff, we got diversity. I think, honestly, I think I got it covered, you know? I think this board's going to be good, and you guys might be right. We might cover this whole damn thing by tonight. And look at Kamala Harris standing up there. God, jeez Louise, man. This is the best America has to offer, you guys, these people. Look at all of them. And don't worry, we got audio. We got audio. It's just, that's what it sounds like. Tim and Ian started arguing again, so I switched. Hey, you know, we're trying to get on Timcast, actually. So, we were on, as you saw, we were on ABL stuff last night. I've called him before. I love Anthony. He's great. It was cool to see you in the chat, Samantha. Timcast, I love as well. Yeah, they do get into it every now and then. We're trying to get on his podcast, which would be cool. We're a small channel. We're not as big yet, but we're growing, baby. Hey, as small as we are, I've always emphasized this. The people you see in the chat, Samantha, they're patriots. This is our normal community. We know each other. We get along. We have fun. And we couldn't be more happy that you're joining us right now.
Members of the House and Senate gather on the House floor live. We're about 10 minutes away from State of the Union, and as you can see, the president just left the White House, seemingly a little
Chuck
late.
Schumer, what is that? Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, the Washington Post noted about
is that
20
Nancy?
minutes ago
Try to fix her dentures? What is she doing?
We're occupying the route the president
Isn't Nancy out of office?
From the White
You guys
House
let me know. I thought
Capitol.
she was done.
Around 250 were sitting on Pennsylvania Avenue.
What is up with Democrats in this white clothing? What was the story behind that again? Something to do with, was that for women's rights or something? Hey, what's going on, Jackie? Glad you guys are hanging out. Look at us. We're all here together. Shoot on Tide Pods.
For the top of the hour, a little after, but that is from the Washington Post.
I actually haven't heard that before. You're probably right. Hey, look, she can still smile without her face falling off. Chewing on Tide. Jesus Christ. You watch a Steven Crowder drinking bingo game? Oh, are they playing bingo as well? I am not. I know they are known to do that, though. I know Steven Crowder is known to be doing the drinking game. We'll be plastered if we do that. Yeah, I thought she was out of office, though. What is she? Was she just invited? You know what I mean? That's her annual pass, like we are going to Disneyland or something. She just gets in every year. Like, go away. You know what I mean? You're retired. Just leave us alone. Right? You know, speaking of Nancy Pelosi in California, pretty amazing results, though, huh, for Trump in California. Again, my home state. I'm sorry, folks. We produce people like Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris. You know, we don't Gavin Newsom. Oh, my God. Who's that? Is that Joe? Oh.
The joint session will come to order. The chair appoints as members of the committee on the part of the House to escort the President of the United States into the chamber. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Hudson. The gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Palmer. The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McClain. The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
I'm trying to fix it.
The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Here we go.
The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Reschenthaler. Gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Rogers. Gentleman from New York.
All right, God, we don't need to hear all that. Yeah, I thought Nancy was out. I thought Nancy Little Pelosi was done. What again? Here comes Poppy. Yeah, Poopy Pants. Yeah. You know what's interesting? They said that they're going to escort him in. I mean, that kind of makes sense. The question is that is he going to be in a wheelchair, on a gurney? We're going to know immediately how Joe's feeling, you guys, because you know how they walk in and shake everybody's hand. Look, we might get one off the bat. One, if he shows up at 6:00 something, we get that first one shows up late. If he, where's that other one? Where's confused? If he gets confused, we get the bottom right. We'll know immediately because he's going to be shaking people's hands, and we'll just look at his face and know immediately if this guy's confused or not. He's going to be wondering where he's at, like he's never stepped foot in the place. So we got this. I think we got this on lock, you guys. We're going to kill it. We're going to kill it today. I should have put Poopy Pants in there. You're right, Bennington. Yes, I should have. I should have added that. So are they still doing roll call?
The senator from Minnesota, Ms. Klobuchar. The senator from Virginia, Mr. Warner.
On. It's like, we're not looking at the Oscars here, people. Nobody cares about, nobody cares about them. Like, what are we in school taking attendance, everybody here? First of all, the State of the Union's a bunch of baloney, okay? Oh, God, there's Mitch. Jesus. I'm so thankful Mitch decided to get out. At least he knew, right? He knew his time was there. For a long time, listeners, we called it, right? I mean, when Mitch was just like... he's just staring off. He's gone. He's not with us anymore. He recognized that. Joe hasn't yet, though. I'm so thankful I haven't heard Kamala Harris's cackle. Oh, there's Matt Gaetz. Okay, there we got the Republican. Byron's in there. Oh, there you go, Romney. Romney's a rhino, man. I can't wait for Romney to be done. God, he looks old, though, doesn't he? Who's that lady with the purple hair? What is going... That's Democrat for sure. No way in hell that's a Republican. No way. Yeah, you're not wrong, Lori. You're not wrong. All right, we got like 3 minutes till this guy shows up. I want to get this first one off the bat here. I want to get that first one.
The Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
All right, thank God. We still got time, folks. I want to get that first one. They came in for the free alcohol, yeah. I'll be honest, you guys. I know who none of those people are that they just called in. I forgot who the guy is right there. I forgot his name, but I love what he's doing for the UFO work. I appreciate trying to uncover what the heck's going on over our military installations. That's nice. As weird as that sounds, I'm not saying they're little green men or gray aliens or anything. When we have stuff flying over our military installations and jamming our fighter jets, not a big fan of that. So I'm glad that he's at least looking into it. Again, if you want to, while we're waiting, if you want to turn this into your own drinking game, like I said, we got Joe Biden there. That's Joey. Right here. You see him? You see Joey? That's Joey. I have too much fun with you guys. Did they just clap for the ushers? Probably. They don't know what's going on. Like you mentioned, they're probably drunk too. These people don't have a clue what's happening. Like, how many times you have to hit the gavel, you know? Cooper, you are darn right.
The Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court. Yeah.
Jeez. Yo, you guys are ruthless. You guys are so ruthless in the chat. Oh my God. Oh, wait. We're going to get it. There's no way that guy walks from outside in there in a minute. I think you know what? I think we're going to get this first one. He's just showing up. We got first one, boys and gals. So first of all, if you're the one that's turning this into a drinking game, I am not. You have to take a shot, and I will take a sip of my root beer. Again, it's a work night, folks. Don't get crazy on me now. We got work tomorrow morning. Wow. By the way, since we got a lot of people in here, I see a lot of badges. There is a new membership opportunity. 99 cents a month. We are moving our hour-long podcast to membership only for protection reasons. But 99 cents for the entire month. So if you guys want to join, we would love your support. 99 cents. You could feed American patriot named Bald Brad. You know, for just 10 cents a day. That guy gives me a bad name. My last name's Roberts. Oh, Mac! Super fan, Mac. Mac, are you drunk? Mac, we only have one. What are you doing? Mac, we only have one listed. He's going Super Saiyan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. That's really cool of you. Thank you. Oh, God. Hey, you know what? Kudos to them for at least getting Donald Trump the 9-0 victory on that, right? For the Colorado. So at least we're not fully insane. By the way, it's 6 o'clock. The man's late. The man is late. Check that off. I want to see him walk in. That's my thing. I really want to see this man walk in. Yeah, Mac's showing everybody up with that $9.99 subscription. Oh, you don't drink? Okay. Well, I appreciate it, brother. I mean, you could have some root beer with me. I think I have some Sprite in the fridge. I actually don't drink too much soda, so only on special occasions. Lori. Right. Oh, boy. But yeah, speaking of California, Trump did well. I mean, honestly, it just shows you where all of, like, the hardcore Democrats are, like, along the coast there. Byron might be VP, folks. Byron, was it Tim Scott or Tom Scott? I always get them two confused. And I'm hoping for Vivek, guys. I'm really hoping for Vivek Ramaswamy. Put an X on the free space. Oh, yep. Okay, we can do that. Yep, good call. Good call. X on the free space. This one right here. Yep. Stumble in. Yes, that too. Oh, here we go. I see him. He's on the move. So we got two, technically. You're right. Free space. We'll cross him out. You're right. It's a good call. Like, who are all these people? If I'm taking up too much of the screen, let me know. We might need another card. Hey, let's hope this is our last card. I don't want to see this guy talk again. God. Hey, I know how you guys feel with the whole White House press briefings. Listen to Karine Jean-Pierre, but look, we got to have it on air. Yeah. Well, Nancy's just probably getting a free ride. Still suckling at the government teat in some way, shape, or form. Like Chuck Schumer is. Chuck Schumer, man, I don't like that guy. Freaks me out. He freaks me out as much as Adam Schiff. Like, I really do think out of everybody in Congress, I think Adam Schiff is, like, the worst person. And he's from my home state of California. And Democrats voted him in still. There's Marco Rubio, another man that cares about our military installations, looking at UFOs. I'm not saying they're little green men, but hell, thank you, Rubio, for looking into it. He is creepy, right, Mac? Yeah, he's creepy. Schumer's creepy, too. He just has that look, you know, that you don't trust around your children. Easy, Pat. You're going to get us banned by YouTube. We're already being shadow banned. Yeah, if you guys weren't aware of that, when I had 500 subs, I get the same amount of views as I did when I had like less than 1,000 subscribers, and we have 50,000 subscribers. But we're still pushing forward. Dude, Lindsey Graham got booed when he was on stage with Trump like 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw that. I mean, what an embarrassing moment for Lindsey Graham. Just completely booed. Trump didn't even know what to do at first. Even Trump was kind of caught off guard. And he kind of like started laughing, which is great. If you're new here, we are the Bald Brad Show. We're a community of patriots, baby. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. Leave us whatever you want. If you think that we're going to win this full bingo, let us know. Like, who is that guy? Who's that old gentleman? It's freaking me out, man. I would love if Trump turned up. Yeah. What's up, bitches? Is she really? I'm not even going to say it. I don't know if it'll get in trouble. Joe's coming in a coffin. The brakes break off on the thing. He just slides down the ramp. Ah, there you go, Ted Cruz. You know, this is actually an interesting thing about Ted Cruz. I did not like the guy early on. When he was, what was this, 2016? I thought that it came across that he was super fake whenever he spoke. Look at this. We're already 5 minutes late, folks. I said it was a shoo-in, right? I said it would be a shoo-in. So I thought he was very fake. But once I actually started reading his books, getting to know who he is, dude, Ted Cruz is insanely smart. And he's not fake at all. So I actually beat myself up for that, for really judging him just based on how he came across on TV during his campaign. But absolutely love Ted Cruz. Super smart. You guys, really, if it wasn't for him, a lot of these Supreme Court cases that we've won by one vote, he has a book called One Vote Away. It just shows you how close, razor thin things were. And thanks to him and a good team that we have some of the freedoms and liberties that we still have today. Thank you to him. Crypt Keeper. That is brutal, Lori. You guys are worse than me. I mean, I got to be careful, you know. YouTube's doing anything and everything they can. He just needs a great... Wow. Wow. Guys. Yo, you're going to get us freaking taken off. Simmer down. Oh my God. Good old Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert. So all eyes are going to be on them during this, right? Because they'll boo them. I didn't see Marjorie. Did you guys? Oh, is that her? I didn't see Marjorie Taylor Greene yet. There's so many blondes. They all look alike. There you go. Kavanaugh. I don't see Amy Coney Barrett. She's obviously there. She's tiny, though. I didn't see her. Ketanji Brown Jackson, the other Supreme Court justice that said, what is it? I'm not a biologist or whatever. That knucklehead. I told you guys it's gonna take them a long time to freaking walk from the beast into the Capitol. Jesus, man. Bernie Sanders, that guy. The Waltons! The Walmarts! The 1%! As the dude has like 4 houses, a yacht, making millions of dollars. Isn't her last name Hono or something like that? She's a knucklehead too. Yeah, Ted's great. Oh yeah, he could totally be brutal. And again, it comes from just him as I believe he's a lawyer, but the guy's insane when it comes to the Constitution. Like, he knows it like the back of his hand, which I didn't know. Again, I looked at him as kind of a buffoon early, and this goes back to 2016. I mean, it's one of my regrets in terms of politics was I didn't take the man more serious. Is Boebert doing any skiing tonight? That one went over my head, Pat. Give me a little bit more context on that one. But hey, she put through the... Oh, jeez, Louise. Maxine Waters, dude. Oh, my God. Remember, that's the lady that told everyone to target us, you guys. Now, if you voted for Trump in 2016, 2020, yes, she on live TV, I think it was on CNN or MSNBC, we talk about it in my book, told people to go after conservatives. If you see them in the streets, if you see them at the gas station... Oh, I thought they were announcing him. God. I was going to respond to you, Jen. I started choking on my soda. No problem. Hey, I love hanging out with you guys. I say it all the time. So, no, thank you for joining and coming to hang out with me and the rest of the awesome community that we're building here. If you're new here, oh, there's Jerry Nadler. God, look at him. God, like, why do all these people look like they're on their deathbed? Jeez Louise. And if you look at Republicans, right, all vibrant, they look healthy, their skin's good. You look at Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they all look like they're on their deathbed. Like, we look good. You know what I mean? Look at us. We look good. Oh, jeez. Look at that. Support yourself. Yep. But I love that you guys came and hang out. Oh, there's Kamala Harris's husband. Penguin from Bratman, yeah. Like, what's taking this guy so long? Now we've been sitting here for 25 minutes. I told you he was going to be late. You know what? I should have put shows up late and then one that shows up 15 or 20 minutes late. That would have been a good one. Again, I'm bringing it up, you guys, because he's renowned. Joe Biden's renowned for showing up to things like hours late. We know he's not hours late because we saw the motorcade pull up, but... Yeah, husband handler. Yeah. Who's handling Joe Biden? Like, throw that in the live chat. You guys think it's the Clintons, the Obamas, the deep state? I think it's the deep state. I just don't know who within the deep state. Maybe. Hey, what's going on? We got Gabby and Neil here. Sweet. Well, I imagine Gabrielle's here, then Neil will be here too. Who's walking in? Okay. She just got done giving Joey some, you know what? Hi, hi, hi. Hi, girl, hi. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking, Pat. I just can't say it. So he has to be walking in any second here. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
False alarm. Oh, God. Anthony Blinken. That guy's a knucklehead. You got the Secretary of the Treasury, I think. You got the Secretary of Defense. Attorney General Merrick Garland behind him. See how they're all shaking hands? I want to see what Joe looks like when he's shaking their hands. Boo, yeah. Y'all suck! The babysitter has entered the building. Oh, there you go. Pete Buttigieg. God, that guy's terrible. He's lost. Oh, God. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the guy that should be impeached. He's so bad at his job, man. It's insane. Like, there's clearly, I've always said this, if you want to excel in the Democrat Party, you just have to be really bad at your job. I mean, they do it for everybody. Look at Kamala Harris, vice president. She ran California into the ground. They want to run Gavin Newsom. He's running California to the ground. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas lied to Congress. Under oath. He's still walking around. Where's my ice cream? Michael, that's brutal. God, world's worst cabinet, man. Can you imagine one of those people being president? Jesus. They have, oh God, I forgot his name, but he's the leader of the Department of Education. I forgot his name, though. A lot of the economy people, we've seen them during the White House press briefings. I don't know all their names because I don't really care enough. You know what, Pat? Speaking of that, Mr. President, please follow the white line. Do you guys remember there was a video clip of him walking to his Oval Office and security, meaning the Secret Service, was like escorting him and he still went the wrong way? Like he was supposed to hang a right and he like left the path and just went straight. Just remember, folks, these are the people that are driving us trillions of dollars into debt. Wow. Game 1, 2, 3 follows the white line. Oh my God. Hey, Kelly, again, welcome for being part of the Bald Brad Army, baby. Like I mentioned, folks, 99 cents is our new membership tier. We're going to start moving to podcasts behind the paywall. 99 cents. Again, that's to protect me more than anything. And then we'll still have videos for free throughout the day, but I give a little bit more of my opinion behind the wall. Okay, where are they putting this guy? And then you got the Secretary of Defense just lies, doesn't even tell the president where he's at for like a week. Nobody had a clue, but don't worry, you guys. They're in communication with each other. Joe Biden's fully aware of what's going on with the Secretary of Defense. He has cancer. What's cancer? Here we go. It's ramping up. Yep, you're not wrong, Ryan. Hey, Lily, what's going on? I saw your comment. Hopefully your husband's with you. It's good seeing you. Yeah, things have been a little bit interesting behind the scenes, but we're still here, baby, pushing. We're pushing forward. Over looks good. Just saying. You don't see too many Democrats, folks, that look like that. I'm just saying, right? The women we got on the conservative side of the aisle, the Republican side of the aisle. I mean, okay, he might talk about the cancer oil. Might slip up. You gotta feel okay. Can we pull back the curtain a little bit? You gotta, in some sense, feel bad for Jill because she knew who her husband was before he started hitting this mental decline. I mean, he's a human being, you guys. Like, she loves him, right? They've been married, regardless of everything you've heard about her and him. When she was young and he was older. It still sucks, man, to see your husband like that. You know, we all had a father, obviously. Like, see them in such a mental decline and that they keep puppeting him out there. It's terrible in my opinion. I think it's wrong. Obviously, I don't agree with this politics, but just pushing somebody out there like that, just leave the guy alone, man. Well, you know, Kelly, supposedly, you know, he's having the best administration. He's done more in, yeah, 20 minutes ago. Yeah, look, it's already 15 minutes. The guy was supposed to be talking already. He's done more in 3 years than any president's ever done in 2 terms, is what we were told by Karine Jean-Pierre. I wonder where she's at. She's not heard of this. Well, so I would imagine he's going to go on relentlessly. What's interesting too, you guys remember, it's after 9 o'clock there. It's 9:17 there. So this is way past his bedtime. Oh, here we go. Oh God, there he is.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
He looks somewhat coherent, but God, he does look a little overstimulated right now. Why is everybody yelling? Do you think how they got Biden out of the Oval Office, out of the White House, was they kind of sold him the idea that he was going to get some ice cream? He's just finding out that he got duped right now. He's figuring it out. It looks, Antonio, like the Oscars. Look at him. You can actually hear what he says if you listen closely. You see Marjorie Taylor Greene with the 45 Trump hat?
This is about you. This is about the soul of the nation.
Jesus, come on, get to the podium. For Pete's sake. Lori, you might be right, to be honest. I don't think he has a clue. The thing is, we've seen him on so many speeches now. We've seen what his normal rhetoric's like. Again, the big thing is he going to be on drugs? Is he going to be given something that's going to hype him up? And right now, to be honest, it kind of does look like it. I think she said, "Say her name, Mr. President," and forgive me, I actually don't remember the woman's name that was killed by an illegal immigrant, but I think that's what that had to do with right there. And I'll turn the volume up when he starts talking. It's just so much clapping and. Yes, thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you for doing that. Thank you. So hopefully he does. That's kind of rumor. I hesitated by not putting it on our bingo card. So I just put it as border. So if that gets brought up, we're gonna check that one off. Anything to do with illegal immigration, we're gonna check that off as the border. And then also newcomers as well. But the newcomers one is more so for, he has to say newcomers. Is Trump going to be on later, Lily? We will. I'm down for that. I might watch him later. Thank you for everything. You're the best is what she just said. For what? What do you mean he's the best? We're all getting reamed. Wow. Wow, that last part. Alpha. Dude, you guys are insane. Oh my God. I'm holding together right now. Like I said, you guys, I laugh at everything. You guys are ruthless, man. There you go. Exactly. Thank you for my paycheck being lost. Exactly. And your retirement. But hopefully the retirement has rebound by now. See, like I said, the market's actually doing decent. I don't think it has anything to do with Joe Biden, but... Holy lordy, dude. Come on. He's... 20 feet, Joe. Come on, buddy. You could do it. 20 feet. Now we're doing selfies. Look how popular he is. He's doing great things for us. Truth is having network issues? Oh, really? That's not good.
How are you doing? Very good to see you. God love you. All right, are we going this way? Yes, sir.
We'll clip that for later, boys. You heard it. My hat on straight. Can't see myself. I don't want to look too much like an idiot. Why is Nancy there? Go and retire. God, dude. Did you guys see what's in his mouth? Did you see that? He has something in his mouth. Sorry, I'll put it down. My bad. I'm trying. You can actually hear what they're saying, though. He has something in his mouth. On his right. See it? See it? You think it's just gum? Hey, what's going on, Jerry? Jerry, I got your email, by the way. I'll email you back. I got it. I mean, I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me. I could have. It looked like he had something on his right-hand side. All right, here we go. Maybe. Almost 30 minutes late.
Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, you see it too, right, Jen? There's something in his mouth.
Good evening.
Bingo card, remember.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
I got the joke.
Mr. Speaker.
Where is it?
Madam Vice President, members of Congress.
Failed joke.
My fellow Americans.
We got it. We got another one.
1941. Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation, and he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. But Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself. That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers at war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What does that have to do with what we're doing right now with Ukraine? We're $34 trillion in debt, man. We don't have money to be sending everywhere.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want.
Got another one.
That's a quote. A former president actually said that.
I told you he won't say him by name.
Down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
I want more mumbling before we check that off, but you're right, Game. He is mumbling already.
As a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. Come here, stand up. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good. You gonna pay your fair share in NATO, man? That's what I want to see. Start paying up.
And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. I will not bow down. In a literal sense, history
You guys see Nancy Pelosi?
History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th. When insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy.
Oh,
Many
God,
of you
here
are
we
here
go again.
on that darkest of days.
I should have put it on the
We
bingo.
all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020
That was a
election
missed
and the
one. I should have
plots
put it
to
on
steal
there.
the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed. America stood. America stood strong, and democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
Dude, Democrats literally are election deniers. Every election for the past 30 years that I know of, since I've been alive, they haven't accepted the elections of which they lost. Even state elections, local.
Ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office is defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections, restore trust in our institutions, and make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place. Again, it's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child, but the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened.
Got another one.
Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to AVF. Guarantee it nationwide.
He's looking confused.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more. Thank you. My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned.
Why is he
He's
yelling?
the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk. If she
We would have had
didn't act.
mumbles anyways.
Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Hey, is that a teleprompter win? Is that a teleprompter win? What do you guys want to do with that? Do we hold that? Do we save it for later?
Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Oh, God, I hope not. All right, you guys say teleprompter wins. Pat says save it, though. We'll call it now, and we'll remember this. We'll see if we can come back on it.
Send me a Congress that supports the right to choose. I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Might have been a cough drop.
Folks, America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses. Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives.
And all the lies you told us.
Millions left behind.
I remember.
A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people. The duty
We already
to
got
care.
Trump.
I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
It's astonishing, you guys. This is what you're seeing, revisionist history. This guy standing on the podium saying that this is going to be in the history books, revising history, blaming Trump and Republicans for what happened when it was the Democrat Party that wanted to do all this stuff.
Comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot, and we leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
I think it was Pat that said cancer oil or oil cancer. We don't have it on the sheet,
Folks,
but he did say the word cancer. I'll take that.
The economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world.
We got economy.
15 million new jobs in just 3 years. A record. A record.
Did we get 14 million? Did he say it? I missed it. Damn it. Did he say 14 million?
At 50-year lows. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope.
Did he say 14 mil?
With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, and we will. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up. Inflation keeps coming down.
I'm taking it.
Inflation
Diversity.
has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower.
So he moved it from 14 to 15. Huh? Is that what you're telling me? They're saying they created 15 million now?
Be soft. And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, We're exporting American products and creating American jobs right here in America, where they belong. And it takes time, but the American people are beginning to feel it. Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers. Creating good-paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree. In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America. And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you. If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernizing our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
Says the guy that wouldn't even go to East Palestine, Ohio. Wouldn't drink their water.
For every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in a family farm, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. The great comeback story is Belvidere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvidere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same. Folks,
look at these idiots.
The folks of Belvidere, I say, instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs of the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvidere right here in America.
I feel like he's going downhill steadily. Like he's slowly starting to mumble more, get lost.
Tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up. And Dawn Sims. a third-generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Sean, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line, and today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America.
It's just not hitting the way he wants it to hit.
You, the American
He's just yelling.
People. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
You notice he has no facts to back that up. Look, I want America to be strong. He has no facts to back that up whatsoever. It's just going to get stronger. We're going to get better.
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities. Where the days of trickle-down economics are over, and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor have a way up, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well.
Why are we all getting screwed here, Joe?
There's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
We got it. Up at the top. By the way, Joe Biden secretly changed the tax intervals. Just a heads up on that.
Sign. Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit. And I want to, but what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone. For years, people have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion. Because Medicare will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market.
Isn't this insane?
Everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Folks, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, well, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks.
He sure knows a lot about drugs, huh, guys?
The old Obamacare. It's still a very big deal.
Obamacare sucks. Look at these clowns, man. Come on. They couldn't even get a website to work.
Million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. But my predecessor, many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before, and we'll stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it. We enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
How much is that going to cost? Because we don't have money.
My plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research.
There you go.
And benefit millions of lives all across America.
$12 billion.
I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well. And the Fed acknowledges that.
It's not on the board.
I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years. And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws.
That's a teleprompter win.
And driving up rents.
Teleprompter wins that one.
We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass.
He's slipping, guys. He's slipping hard. By the way,
now pass and build
all small stuff.
2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down. To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I, like I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year, that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to.
He's leaning on that podium hard.
Start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is. I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable. They were mad that they were angry. I think, well, they were discussing why I wanted to spend money on education.
Gets confused.
I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182.
He's slipping.
Don't hold me the exact number. And
says
I
numbers
asked them
incorrectly.
what they need most, the CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them, and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
You guys, he's talking about things that happened years ago. And then he's talking about 3- and 4-year-olds having preschool.
Local businesses and high schools, so students get hands-on experience and a path to good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure that college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions. And I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service.
Overreach of the federal government, by the way, on that student loan forgiveness plans.
Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college.
Wasn't the whole thing about trying to get people to not have to go to college, but get into trade school earlier in this conversation, in this speech?
Such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise. And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion.
They're laughing at him.
A bipartisan deal.
They're laughing at him.
Cut another $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and the very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
Wow, that's wild.
Look,
that's wild.
I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make $1 million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes.
What does that mean?
A fair tax code is how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations.
That's a lie, by the way. Coming from an actual accountant, that's a lie.
They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers.
This is wild.
Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? No! Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? No! I sure don't.
Wow.
I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet.
Sick. So tax your employers so that they pay you less money as time goes on. Great idea.
During the pandemic, cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
What does that mean?
Remember,
give us a number, Joe.
55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
It's so insane, you guys. It's so insane.
Every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share.
Wow.
I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America.
Great.
You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires?
I don't give a shit.
No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%.
Okay.
That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay.
Why do I care?
No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
Wild.
I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get what they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care, and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay
Guys, this is wild. 25% tax?
Let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age,
that's a lie.
I will stop you.
100% a lie. Flat out lying right now. That's insane. This dude's going full insane.
The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh, no.
He's lying.
You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealthy. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share. Look.
It's insane, dude.
Too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to health care to housing. In fact, the snack companies think
junk fees.
You won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it. You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees. Those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8.
We talked about that already, folks, last week.
Banks and credit card companies
big deal.
are allowed to charge
Not in a good way.
what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8.30-some. They don't like it. The credit card companies don't like it.
No.
And I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front so there are no surprises. It matters. It matters. And so does this. In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
None of that solves anything, you guys. Understand that.
What are you against?
That it doesn't solve the border crisis, brother. Duh.
100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives and bring order to the border.
This is wild.
It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
You already have the
Border
authority.
Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts.
You have authority.
I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill.
Here we go.
He feels political win. He viewed it as would be a political win for me and a political loser for him.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
All right. Hey,
But
good
look,
on him for doing that.
If we change the dynamic at the border,
I'll give him that.
people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if
he's in
it's
trouble.
only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Look at Byron.
I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
That's insane. Dude.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together, but that's what he apparently here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country.
Oh, God, he didn't say that. Stop it.
Separate families. I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans.
This is wild, you guys.
We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans.
Already got race and diversity, folks. We already got that checked off.
Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now. A transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead.
This is insane, you guys. This is wild.
Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him. But joining us tonight are other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law. Thank you.
All thanks to Republicans, by the way. All thanks to Republicans for that. The Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, all that fun stuff. Thank you, Republicans, for all that stuff. It's funny how he's talking about the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, all this other stuff. That's the Democrat Party.
But
the Democrats did that.
59 years later, their forces taking us back in time. Voter suppression, election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis is a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
We already have the right to vote. What are we talking about here?
And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life.
We already got it.
Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act.
Oh, you
and
don't.
This is a transgender American. I have your back. Pass the PRO Act for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030. creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs like the IBW workers building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving 30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution.
God.
And patterned after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
Isn't it wild, you guys? Where do you start?
The obvious. All Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against, I might add, we made the largest investment in public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking.
We already got gun violence, I told you.
Justice have been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America. There are other kinds of violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it. Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president.
It's insane, you guys. This is so wild.
After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what
I'm speechless.
he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Hey, I'm surprised he's lasted this long. It's been about almost an hour.
I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Pass universal background checks. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners. You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also we will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has an added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards, under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocent women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin. Families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
Whoa, that's big news. That's big news. Even the speaker behind him was caught off guard. Wow.
Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. To the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time. And I say this as a lifelong supporter of Israel. My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime. But there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America's falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan
Straits. Did that guy hook up with a Chinese spy?
I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific.
Who did that? Who on
India,
C-SPAN did that?
Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else.
He hasn't done anything.
Than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. But there's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't.
This guy's talked about rent, AI, like talking about bottom of the barrel stuff.
That's why the song Support and Help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H. And remind us that we can do big things, like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
Remember when Joe Biden, like 3 years ago, said he was going to cure cancer? We should have put that on the board. It should have been on our bingo board.
Let me close with this.
Oh, thank God.
Yay.
Thank God.
I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get
I knew we'd get to it.
age, certain things become clearer than ever.
You guys didn't think we'd get it, huh?
I know the
but we
American
did.
story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor.
He's laughing.
Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II, when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working-class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service. I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president, or our first black president.
Exactly. Blah,
not
blah,
president
blah.
to the first women vice president.
It's pretty astonishing she's standing and clapping for him. Remember when she called him a racist on the campaign trail? Like, for months on end, he was just a complete racist. And now she's standing behind him clapping, shaking his hand, working with the guy. Kind of wild.
Old eyes too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy. My fellow Americans,
Yeah, I got
the issue
age.
facing our nation
We'll have two more left.
we are. It's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas that only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done.
I thought he said he was
Tonight you've
wrapping
heard
it up.
mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away.
As he was talking about putting in an assault weapons ban.
Where the middle class finally has a fair shot, and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence.
We already got gun violence, guys. We already got it.
I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Holy lordy, folks. Well, one, he made it longer than I would have thought, so I'll give him that. Man was clutching onto that podium with his dear life. Jesus. Where do we start, you guys? So I'll lower it just a little bit. We still got a couple on the board. Now, hey, we technically can clear it. Okay, we technically can clear it, and I'll tell you why. And I'll be honest with you. With the that was going to be him coughing or just anything that kind of is a pause in between. So if we want to take that, we can. The newcomers, I was more so looking for him to say the word newcomers, but it was mostly about illegal immigration. So we could clear the board, which was our goal. Now, are we kind of stretching it a little bit? Yeah, but let's go ahead and just clear it. Let's clear it. We technically got it. Immigration, and I'm going to take the coughing and the mumbling as an as well. So I'm going to say we got the board. We cleared it. Well, we cleared it. Jesus. Look, my quick take is it went like I expected because listening to the White House press briefing yesterday, Karine Jean-Pierre actually mentioned what he was going to say, at least some of the stuff. And it was like really bottom of the barrel things. Like you see on here, the prescription drugs, you guys, he's been talking about for 2 years. So that's nothing new. The 14 million jobs, he lied, right? Now it's 15 million, 16 million. Blaming Republicans, he's been doing since day one. He brought up race, which is always a thing for the Democrats. The economy, yeah, the stock market's doing better, but we're getting shellacked at the gas pump. Gas prices went through the roof. 9.1% inflation. On average, Americans lost over $4,000 in their retirement. They're struggling to pay their bills right now. Energy prices have gone through the roof. Consumer prices have gone through the roof. I mean, you name it. And this guy's going to sit there and brag about how well things are going when 60% of Americans in general don't believe that's the case. Mumbling through his words, which we got. He brought up Ukraine, of which we're going to continue to send billions of dollars to. We don't have the money. Look, should we help people? Of course. Of course. We don't have the money. And then he's going to have the cojones to tell all of us that he's lowering the deficit. That he's lowered it by $1 trillion, and he's going to lower it by another $3 trillion. He's just throwing out stuff, you guys. Like literally just saying a bunch of stuff out there. And that's all he did. That was my quick take. That's all he did. Taxes. So before it was tax the millionaires, right? But now because a lot of these knuckleheads in the Democrat Party and millionaires themselves, like Bernie Sanders, now it's tax the billionaires, the billions. Anybody over $450,000, you guys, that's your employers. You're screwing over the employers, the people that actually employ Americans across the country, and now you want to tax them? 25% is what they said. They want to tax billionaires 25% minimum. He said the word minimum. Obviously, he's going to blame Trump. Notice he never said him by name, which I always thought was odd. Why don't you just call the guy out? Why don't you say how tough you are. Call the guy out. Oh, my predecessor, the prior president. And he brought in the Affordable Care Act. Do you guys see that? The Affordable Care Act. I want to make it bigger and better. They couldn't even get the website to work. Our premiums are through the roof. We were told all our premiums across the board are going to drop. It went up for a lot of people. I mean, the teleprompter, folks, is three years undefeated. Give it up for the teleprompter, folks. Can we get a clap in chat? Can we get a clap in chat for the teleprompter for fighting back? Failed joke at the beginning. We got that one way before the speech even started. Brought up diversity, which is shooing for Democrats. The border. Are you guys with me on the insane rhetoric of the border? Saying, let's secure the border, but they told us for 3 years with the dude sitting in the crowd, Alejandro Mayorkas, that the border was secure. He told Jim Jordan, who was in the room as well, the border's secure. The border's secure. But it's not secure. And now they're going to tell us to secure the border. And remember when it was racist to secure the border? Do you guys remember that? For 4 years when Trump was in office, it was considered racist. It was bigotry. It was wrong to secure the border. So again, it's one of those things where, oh, it's okay when Democrats do it, but it's wrong when Republicans do it. You have climate change brought up with using electric vehicles, which is so astonishing to me because the amount of energy it takes to run an electric vehicle and build one is just through the roof. He brought up his age, like too old. Dude, it's not about your age. It's about your cognitive ability, man. Whatever they gave you tonight was clearly working because a lot of speeches, he doesn't look like this. He doesn't act like this. So they hopped him up on something big time. Says numbers incorrectly. Fumbled through his words. He said 2,000, then 4,000. He said 15,000. He switched to 16. It's supposed to be 14. Their words, not mine. Never really said newcomers, but talked about immigrants. I will give him this. Look, I always try to throw positives at anybody and everybody. At least he brought up Marjorie Taylor Greene. At least he had the cojones to say this is bad. So kudos to him. Anything out of the whole speech, that's what I did like. That one thing. Gun violence he brought up, which is astonishing because it's mainly Democrat-ran cities that have massive gun violence, right? Gun violence is through the roof. You got guns pouring across the border into our inner cities, killing a bunch of people. It's wild. Brings up Israel. And so that was a little bit good on how he backed Israel. New information coming out with the whole pier they're going to build with humanitarian aid. That one I find fascinating. I don't know how the Israelis feel about that one. We'll have to find and look more research into that. Clearly that was breaking news because the speaker behind him had no idea. I don't know if you saw his reaction, but he was like, whoa, what are we doing? Junk fees, which is interesting. I want to see how that one plays out because they're going to put forth a strike force for these junk fees where basically they're going to tell corporations what the cap should be on the prices that they can offer consumers of their goods and services. Part of that is the total price showing when you buy it, I don't know, a ticket to a sporting event because they show like that, what is that fee, like just a signature fee, a fee anywhere and everywhere. And then abortion, we could have people in here, abortion, there's Republicans and conservatives that are for abortion. I'm pro-life, to be honest. I wasn't always pro-life. I was pro-choice. So I don't like what the Biden administration's doing regarding abortion. I understand that there's people that have very rough scenarios like getting raped and stuff, which we talk all about in the book here, Trojan Horse. We have a whole chapter on abortion. But at the end of the day, that only makes up 0.5%. The vast majority of abortions are just because they find it inconvenient to have a child. I mean, that's not, again, I'm just feeding the data. It's not my opinion. It's literally what the data says. And then lastly, he gets confused, which he did all of those things. So what I saw from this, very lackluster, scraping at the bottom of the barrel. Basically, they're throwing spaghetti against the wall and saying, let's just talk about literally everything we've done in 3 years and just see what sticks. Nothing for me stood out. A lot of lies regarding the border, a lot of lies regarding the economy, a lot of lies regarding what's going on foreign and abroad. It was just packed with lies. And that's why I said, and all of us have been in an argument with somebody before where they've said so much BS that you literally don't know where to start. And that's how I honestly felt watching this. I felt speechless of, I don't know where to start because he's just shouting stuff out there in the ether, but not being specific. Institutional racism. Okay, but who are the racists in that institution so we can fight it together? Tax them. Tax the billionaires, the wealthy. Okay, but what's the tax? 25% minimum, but what's like the high end of that? Like, are we talking 50%, 60% on the wealthy that pay almost all net tax in the United States already, but they're not paying their fair share? That was, I'm not wealthy, you guys. I'm just like all of you. I'm not saying any of you are not wealthy. Hell, maybe you are. I'm not wealthy at all. If I was, I wouldn't be wearing the same hat and the stuff all the time. But he's going to sit there and push all this stuff. It's so insane. It's so insane. Some of you said Trump was going to do an after speech. I don't know if that's the case. Is he? Is Trump doing a speech right now, you guys? Anybody got that? Like a rebuttal? Let me know if Trump's going live here, and I'll actually throw it up real quick. Or who is doing the rebuttal? Who's doing the rebuttal for the Republicans? Who's doing the rebuttal? Let's find that out. He was supposed to do commentary during... Oh, he's supposed to do commentary during... Okay, I got you. Oh, he's on Truth? He would be on Truth. Well, we'll have to find out. If he does have it, maybe we'll cover it for tomorrow then. We'll see. Usually Friday shows are a little bit... you know, it's the end of the news cycle, but I mean, there's this too, so we'll have to see what comes out. I know Timcast is covering some stuff right now. I mean, hell, everybody's covering this right now. So I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. That was fun. This is cool. Because I would have probably been watching somebody else, and I'd rather hang out with all of you guys. I can't listen to this crap anymore. Vote Trump in 2024. We have been live streaming for a long time, but, you know, we'll cut it there. Why not? I had a fabulous time hanging out with all of you. Every morning's a fabulous time, to be honest. But anytime I get to live stream is always, you know, it's all really, I do mean this. It's a blessing to hang out with all of you. You guys give me your time and you have fun and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if we'll have an episode tomorrow or not. If we do, it will just be a couple videos sporadic. Tucker just crashed Rumble. Did he really? Did he really just crash Rumble? No, Rumble's up. They must have reset it. Is he doing, let's see if he's doing something here. People are watching Tucker. We can hop on it for a little bit if you guys want. Some people are hanging around here. Brian, I bet the packaging is still made of China. Oh, he did.
He is, and it's on display every day. I should be responsible from experience watching that. You know, you think of Joe Biden as a doddering old man, a guy who can't remember when his son died or when he served as vice president. And of course, that's exactly who he is, and it's on display every day. But Joe Biden is also a cruel and vicious demagogue, a man who has no problem at all denouncing his fellow Americans or putting his political opponents in prison as he has done. And that was all on display tonight. That was possibly the darkest, most un-American speech ever given by an American president. In fact, it wasn't a speech. It was a rant, entirely lacking in decency or generosity to his fellow Americans. In Joe Biden's very first sentence, he compared Donald...
Oh, he did crash it. You're right. Yeah, it cut off. You're totally right. But that's weird. He's only at 56. Dan Bongino gets like 112. Let's see if it's back up. No, I want to watch this. Hold on. People are posting. Watch on InfoWars. Let's see here. He's on X.
Could it be because Russia is the largest white Christian country in the world? Maybe.
Dude, there's almost 1 million people watching this.
Could it be because they're getting rich from war? Well, that's certainly true. And there may be other reasons as well. We could guess. But we don't need to, because we know that it's happening, and we know that war against Russia is not the only war we're going to be engaged in, and not the only one that Biden announced tonight. Biden also told the country that we're going to have boots on the ground in Gaza. Really? Yeah. Or admitted it, in fact. American forces have actually been there for months. Did you know that? Did anyone ask you? Has anyone explained to you, no matter where your sympathies lie, what the point of this is, when we'll know we've won? What's the objective here? American lives will be at risk. But, of course, no one's told you. And, of course, you already know the point. The point is to suck the United States into another foreign war that can't possibly help the United States, a war that can only hurt us and already is hurting us. And we're doing this not because it helps us, but because foreign interests are demanding that we do it. America is being used, as we so often have been. And the result of all of this is that the world is now closer to nuclear war at this moment than at any time in history, closer than it was during the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have no idea where this is going. You never do once people start to die, once wars begin. No PowerPoint can tell you, no speech to a joint session can tell you where this is going. It's dynamic. It's completely unpredictable. And that's why wise people pause before accelerating. But there are no wise people in charge in either party, on either side. Do you think Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, has any clue what will happen in a war with Russia? Of course not. You can't say where this is going. This is so reckless that it qualifies as suicidal. And maybe they are. But the rest of us aren't. But the most interesting fact of the speech was the emphasis. There was not a meaningful word for the entire duration about the things that actually matter to people who live here, like crime or inflation or
That's
fentanyl,
what we were talking
or the
about.
foreign army now occupying our country.
I told you it was
Joe Biden
lackluster.
doesn't
There wasn't
care.
anything there. There was no
There was
substance.
no upside for you in any of the things that he said. But he does have a present for you. He's got something to give you, something you want very badly. Here it is.
Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you get right about that. Clearly, those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Oh, well, you can't have a safe, clean country or groceries you can afford or schools that will educate your children. But you can't have abortion. You can have a lot more abortion. How's about some more abortion for you? That'll make you happy and free. You can have all the abortions you want. But, of course, you already could have all the abortions you want. Abortion is one thing, maybe the one thing that's pretty easy to get in this country. Compare getting an abortion to getting an affordable new roof or a knee replacement. No, abortion is everywhere. It's very easy to get. And it's
Isn't that wild?
Easy to get because the government wants it to be, of course, unlike an affordable new roof. But what's interesting is why, of all the services government could guarantee, why abortion at a time when fertility rates of actual Americans are below replacement?
Correct.
Biden and his party are encouraging Americans to have fewer children. Now, if you have a handheld calculator, do the math on that. That's the path to extinction. Why would they want that? You're the leader of a country. Why would you want your people to have fewer children? You should ponder that. But let's say you're too old to have an abortion.
Thank you, bro. That's so
Let's
nice
say
of you. Thank you.
It doesn't actually apply
bless
to
you.
you,
Thank you.
this wonderful freedom that will make you happy.
Thanks for
What
joining
can
us.
you do to guarantee that you will have no descendants? Well, you can always castrate your children and end your lineage.
Jesus,
no more
Tucker.
grandchildren. And Joe Biden wants to help.
I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans is I have your back.
Oh, trans children, I have your back. That's
So
not creepy.
insane.
But that's what he's offering. Abortion,
It is
war,
creepy.
castration of children, not better roads and schools, cheaper electricity and food. No.
Tucker is so
abortion and
spot on
war.
right now. He is so spot on this.
Who wants all that? I mean, some tiny percentage of CNN contributors think those are the most important things. But most people would rather have cheaper electricity, cheaper food, better roads.
Didn't we talk about that? Grocery
And so what
prices
this
up, gas prices up?
means is that underneath all of the talk is a dire political reality. Joe Biden can't win.
He
In a
sucks.
fair election, Joe Biden will lose in November. He cannot win.
You can only hope so, Tucker.
That's the thing that nobody in any media wants to say out loud. In a fair election, Joe Biden cannot win.
I agree with that.
So they're saying the opposite.
In
Here,
a
for
fair
example,
election.
is the pregame analysis
Oh, wow,
over at
Big Mac.
MSNBC, which we watched while waiting for
Right,
Biden
Mac.
to dodder up to the stage, waiting for the amphetamines to take effect. And keep in mind, as you watch this analysis, these are supposedly the smart kids. These are the smart
Thank you,
kids, the
Brian.
ones with complicated glasses. These are the ones the White House looks to for guidance. And here's their analysis of Joe Biden's skills. Watch this.
Thanks, Brian.
This seems like a weirdly counterintuitive hot take, even though it's the most obvious thing you could say, which is that Joe Biden is good at politics.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Like Joe Biden is good at politics. He's very good at politics. Like the man really does know what he's doing, and you really see it in those sort of situations.
Joe Biden is just really good at politics. It's the one thing he's really good at. Really? If Joe Biden is so good at politics, why is he losing to Donald Trump, who the rest of us were assured was a retarded racist, who no normal person would vote for? But now Joe Biden is getting stomped by Donald Trump, but he's also at the same time good at politics? Right. Chris Hayes, ladies and gentlemen, the most famous lesbian in television. So, again, they can't win, but they're not giving up. So what does that tell you? Well, they're going to steal the election. And we know they're going to steal the election because they're now saying so out loud.
Yes, they are.
Here is the Attorney General of the United States, the chief law enforcement officer
Give it to us, Tucker.
of this country in Selma, Alabama,
Praise
just
you,
the
baby.
other day. Listen to this.
The right to vote is still under attack. And that is why the Justice Department is fighting back. That is why one of the first things I did when I came into office was to double the size of the voting section of the Civil Rights Division. That is why we are challenging efforts by states and jurisdictions to implement discriminatory, burdensome, and unnecessary restrictions on access to the ballot, including those related to mail-in voting, the use of drop boxes, and voter ID requirements.
There you go.
That is why we are working to block the adoption of discriminatory
Thank you, Lily.
redistricting plans that dilute the vote of black voters and other voters of
You guys
color.
were super sane today. Thank
Did you catch that? Of course, you're a racist. That's always the takeaway. But consider the details
Thanks for
of what
getting
the
me through the State of the
Attorney
Union.
General of the
You
United
guys got
States
me
just
through the
said.
State of the Union.
Mail-in balloting.
Thanks for hanging out. Thank
drop
you so much. That's so
boxes,
kind of you guys.
Voter ID requirements. The chief law enforcement officer of the United States government is telling you that it's immoral, in fact racist, in fact illegal, to ask people for their IDs when they vote to verify they are who they say they are. What is that? Well, no one ever talks about this.
We did.
But the justification for it is that somehow people of color, black people,
We just talked about that the other day.
State-issued IDs. Somehow they're living in a country where you can do virtually nothing without proving your identity with a government-issued ID without government-issued IDs. So they can't fly on planes, they can't have checking accounts, they can't have any interaction with the
We
government,
literally talked
state,
about this
local, or federal.
like 2 days ago.
They can't stay in hotels. They can't have credit cards. Because someone without a state-issued ID can't do any of those things. But what's so interesting is these same people, very much including the Attorney General and the administration he serves, is working to eliminate cash, to make this a cashless society. Have you been to a stadium event recently? No cash accepted. You have to have a credit card. In order to get a credit card, you need a state-issued ID. And somehow that's not racist, but it is racist to ask people to prove their identity when they choose the next president of the United States.
Isn't that insane?
So that doesn't make any sense at all. That's a lie. It's an easily provable lie. And anyone telling that lie is advocating for mass voter fraud, which the Attorney General is. There's
Correct.
no other way to read it. So you should know that. You live in a country where the Attorney General is abetting, in fact, calling for voter fraud. And that's the only chance they have to get their guy reelected.
That's correct.
Well, for a cooler, more measured take, we suspect, on what we just saw, we are grateful to go to Victor Davis Hanson, who's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, and he joins us now. Professor, thank you very much for coming on. I want to start right at the outset, and I save this sound for your analysis, because I think it'll be smarter than mine, of the signature moment of the night, which was Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia confronting Joe Biden as he spoke, and here's what happened next.
And good on her.
I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
So what did you make of that? What does that mean, do you think?
Well, I've never seen, in general, an angrier speech. I mean, I think the left's happy because he didn't stumble, but he only is incoherent when he's full of venom and he's angry. Get off my... This was Phantom of the Opera #2, and I've never seen a president interact and yell at the opposition. And, you know, Tucker, he attacked the Supreme Court, and he was having a dialogue, an invective against the Supreme Court justices in the chamber. And so he's a very angry guy, and you were absolutely right, he's a demagogue. And then it was...
We asked why he was yelling. I agree.
I couldn't believe when he talked about the deficit and the debt. He's on schedule if he would be reelected to run up $15 trillion.
Thank you.
We're spending, borrowing, I should say, or printing $1 trillion every 100 days under him. We've never seen anything like it, $7 trillion. And yet he says he's lowered the debt or deficit. Same thing about the border. I mean, I know that Mitch McConnell made a fatal blunder by even negotiating with these guys, and that was the whole purpose of the Democratic negotiation, was this speech where they could say, well, they didn't sign on, but there's no need for laws, there's no need for more money. All Joe Biden had to do was just keep the policies in place. He had 100 executive orders to overturn everything. He let in almost 10 million people by design. He wanted to change the demographic. He wanted voters under, you know, mail-in and early voting protocols. And yet to stand there and just say that he's for the border closing was just a complete lie.
Isn't that wild?
I think it got people, I don't think it's going to go over. I think it was get a mean old man saying, get off my grass, and I'm going to give you free stuff and print more money and then tell you that it's the rich that are the problem.
And just lie about everything.
I think the nadir, though, Tucker, was not just the Marjorie Taylor Greene exchange, but when he said that he's getting tired of people not paying their income taxes when his son is now facing several felony counts for tax avoidance. And he's got a lot of cash that he's never reported.
Good
as soon as he's out
point.
of office, if there's any justice in the world, he'll face the same exposure as Hunter. So I know that the left will say, well, he didn't stumble, and he was vigorous, and he was muscular, but it was a muscularity and a vigor that was frightening, because it was exactly like he did in that other speech.
He stumbled.
About
We have it right here.
And ultra
He mumbled.
MAGA.
Yes.
And the idea that buffoonish display in the rotunda for a few minutes was a insurrection and is the greatest threat to America since the Civil War. I think he forgot December 7th and World War II and World War I. But my God, he lives in an alternate universe. And
well, may I ask you a
preview
question about human nature?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
He didn't write this speech. His staff wrote it.
Of course
they're not stupid. and they told easily
Thanks,
provable
Gary.
lies, not just a few, as politicians invariably do, but big ones. The Republicans are responsible for the spending and the border, et cetera, et cetera.
It's always our fault.
Why do they do that? Does that work? If you repeat a lie often enough, does it become real? Like, what's the thinking there, do you think?
Good question.
I think they think that lying on the border and lying on the budget and lying about abortion and lying about all these things will be resonated because they have confidence in the media. They feel they control social media, traditional media, new media, entertainment, and this will just reverberate. And as what you see every night on network news or MSNBC.
MSNBC,
I don't think
NBC, ABC. Yeah.
People have heard it before, and they look at the reality that the staples that make life possible, fuel and food and shelter,
exactly
have gone
right,
up
Brian.
30%, and he doesn't care. And when they look at the border, it's 8 to 10 million people who are swarming into the United States, and he doesn't care. And when you look at abroad, you know, he kept talking about Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. You want to think, okay, there's been 4 administrations. When did Putin go in? He didn't go in during Donald Trump, but he went in during Bush, and he went in Obama, and he went in yours. And you talk really tough on Ukraine, but you were the one that fled in disgrace from Afghanistan. You told the country you wouldn't react if it was a minor invasion of Ukraine. You talk about giving them aid. He froze $100 million. And there was no Middle East war when Donald Trump was there. So the world fell apart when he came on the scene. He knows that.
Correct.
I think they're going to be desperate. I think you're absolutely right about what the contours of the next election are going to be.
I think it's a great word, desperate. I think that's what that speech was, desperate.
January 6th, beat that dead horse. It's going to be abortion. It's going to be Donald Trump lawfare. And then it's going to be confidence in 70% of the electorate not voting in person on election day. And that's all they have. Every single issue, people are sick of him. And but I do have some confidence. I'm a little bit more optimistic when you look at that face and you see that reptilian grin and an anger, and he screams for emphasis. He doesn't change his intonation or use his hands or try to smile. It's just very angry and full of venom, as if all of the veneer of self-control of an earlier Joe Biden is gone now, and it's the real Joe Biden coming out. We've seen it before, and it's kind of frightening. I've never seen an angrier speech, State of the Union, than that. Never.
It's been a lot of years, a lot of decades.
I don't think there's ever been one.
Might be right, actually.
Last question: If you were going to guess what happens as this unfolds, because there's no better big picture assessor than you, is Biden going to make it to November? Is there any chance he wins? I mean, what would you guess if you had to in March? Now, what happens?
I think I think tonight is what we saw with the first debate with Donald Trump. I think he was late tonight. I think they just have a 2-day week. They rest him, and then for these iconic occasions, he looks angry, and they consider that normal. But campaigning, he's not going to be able to campaign. And I think that what we saw after the Robert Hur report, that crazy press conference, is going to be often, and I think they're going to intercede in the August convention and make the super delegates decisive, or open all the delegates up and see if they can get him off the ticket. Maybe tonight they don't think that, but they'll have a different view next week, the week after, and the week after. Especially, I don't think this is going to help his polls at all.
I don't think so either.
People are tired of the anger and the screaming and the whole tempo. But I'm very worried that if Donald Trump has to campaign in 50 states, and whether we like it or not, he's going to have to unite the party, and I think he can. But they don't have any margin of error. He's going to have to be the first Republican president to get 51% of the vote since 1988, and they've lost 7 out of the last 8 popular presidential popular votes. So, and they don't have a good record, the Orthodox Republican establishment. So Trump's going to have to reach to every community. He's going to have to campaign, and it's going to have to bring people together.
Trump's rhetoric's been really good lately.
No margin of
I'll call him out when his rhetoric isn't good. Trump's been doing really good lately in his speeches.
So it's going to be the most raucous, nastiest, loudest election in our lifetime, and I'm really worried about it. But I have confidence in the American people, and I think what they saw tonight was an old man raging and ranting and barking at the moon.
Yep.
There's been, I would say, an unprecedented crackdown on civil liberties during the Biden administration. If Trump loses, does that abate or does it accelerate? Do more people go to jail if Biden wins or loses?
Well, if Biden wins, I think we're in trouble because we've seen what Merrick Garland did when they were afraid of being, whether they would be reelected or not. If he's reelected and he has 4 years, there's no bridles. And if he should win, he'd probably win the House. If Donald Trump wins, the thing about Donald Trump is everybody says he's out for revenge and everything, but you look at the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, the IRS under his control, they weren't vindictive. They didn't go after their political enemies. No. He may talk tough, but he's not a vindictive person.
That is correct. And if you remember under the Obama administration, the IRS went after conservatives.
About getting even by being successful, that he's got it in him to unite the country. Biden doesn't. And I think Trump could. And I hope that he campaigns in the inner city. I hope he campaigns in places like where I live in the Central Valley. There's people that want a reason to vote for him. They're sick of Biden. And they feel that he did a good job. And all he has to do is appeal to that.
I think if Vivek is Trump's VP, he'll be in the inner cities. I think Vivek knows and understands how that campaign should be ran. I think Vivek is a good pick for Trump.
We are honored to invite into the studio for the first time to respond live Alex Jones, who has a different, more holistic.
I was going to get off, but I got to see Alex.
Alex Jones, who needs no introduction, one of the most famous people in American media.
I can do as good as you, but I'm blessed to be here. Great crew, great people, great to be here with you.
So just give me your big picture assessment of that.
I got to say, because we didn't even meet before we went on air. I was downstairs.
That's correct, Lily, yeah.
And you basically said everything I was going to say, and so did the doctor. But you asked him a question out of the gates. You said, why do they lie so much? Do they think we're dumb or what's going on?
Yeah.
They want to tell so many lies that you don't have time to counter them all. Because it would take 5 hours to counter all that. I mean,
I gave up in my note taking.
Yeah, everything was a lie. And I mean, the biggest one was like,
that was our take.
This woman got killed by illegal alien. We're trying to stop that. I want to shut down the border. He said, when I win, immediately surge the border. And then they had the big NGOs, the State Department that funds the UN NGOs, have all the illegals come up here. They have UN camps in South America and Central America and in Mexico. And he's running it all. He says, come here. They show up by the thousands in Biden shirts. So he's like, I'm so sad the illegal aliens are killing you, and many of them are convicted felons, a large portion, and then he's acting dumb and saying, oh, no, I'm really sad illegal aliens are raping and murdering citizens. So just that little window there, he's playing the good cop to his own globalist policies. Everything that the State Department, the Victoria Nuland's want, and you're absolutely right. First he comes out and says, Trump is Hitler, and then he moves on to Ukraine. So it's not about the dying cities, it's not about the fentanyl and the needles, the illegal aliens everywhere, and the homeless everywhere. It's all about Ukraine because
I just love Alex Jones's voice. Hey, the frogs are gay, Joe. Joe, the frogs are turned gay.
For America. And your last guest was dead on. He and the whole establishment is so emblematic of a rotting, collapsing facade that knows the people have turned against it. And it's just pure rage. All the fakeness, all of the pop and circumstance has been stripped away. And now there's just this seething, ancient dinosaur. In fact, I was watching, earlier during the State of the Union and then sitting here watching you earlier, I was thinking, how do I start this? I want to say, it's like we're in a time machine looking back on the age of the dinosaurs, the Paleolithic or something, or something. I mean, we're looking back because time is compressed now. So we're here looking at a dying, corrupt, dead political empire that hates America and is trying to use our power to take over the world. And it's already gone. The world's turning against it. The Great Awakening's here. All the numbers show it. And they're trying to hang on. And so we're looking back at Jurassic Park. We're looking back at the dinosaurs. But instead, the dinosaurs are trying to claw us back into hell. I mean, take World War II. Operation Valkyrie was the German general staff, who were Nazis and bad guys, but they were like, we're going to lose the Russians. We're going to lose the Americans. We're going to lose the Allies. A year and a half before the war ended, let's kill Hitler, but they failed.
I'm sweating.
It's the same thing. The globalist program has failed But they're thinking, well, if we just enslave people and arrest people and do all this, they'll shut up and go away. The New World Order has already failed. The question is, when Hitler knew he was going to lose, he wrote and said, if the Germans failed on the Eastern Front with the Russians, all the Germans deserve to die. They failed and they're weak. And so he flooded the German subways.
You know what you're going to get with Alex Jones. This is it.
25 million Germans died. 26 million Russians died. Most of World War II was the Russians, the Nazis killing each other. And so it's kind of that same thing. The left saying, if we're going down, we're taking you all with us. And we have Klaus Schwab saying, you will eat bugs. We have Tyson Foods saying, we're moving in with crickets.
Tucker's face
as the main
is so
batter
funny.
for your chicken and everything else. I mean, they're really, Yuval Noah Harari was on late night comedy just last night. And he's like, yeah, the age of humans is over. And then the talk show host agreed, yeah, we need computers to decide everything, programmed by the globalists. So all they're offering is more of the same. And if we just fully reject them, which is happening, they will fall away. But they're trying to claw us down to hell with them.
It does almost seem like, I mean, flirting
We'll
with
hop over and
nuclear
check her out.
war, which they are doing on multiple fronts with no plan whatsoever at all. We're going to finish the job. They never explained what the job was. That's suicidal. I mean, it's not right. It's not going to help them.
It's psychotic.
It is psychotic. So it does feel like the leaders of the society are trying to destroy the society.
And again, I go back to Hitler, who in his own writings, this is not, in my opinion, he's like, the Germans deserve to die, so we're just going to stand here at Berlin. And they're like, sir, the Russians have entered the subways, flood it. And they go, sir, we've got 1 million Germans, families, children in the subways. He said, they deserve to die. So the left is not giving up because they're disconnected from reality. Unlike German soldiers who were fighting for an evil force, but they were at least fighting.
Brian, totally.
The left live in high-rise apartments. They're disconnected from reality. And to them, it's all like a video game. And they don't realize, as you were just saying, Macron 3 weeks ago, yeah, we're going to have a national draft. We may have to send troops in to fight the Russians directly. The British Ministry of Defense, the Swedish Ministry of Defense, NATO officially. Yeah. And you've got Sean Penn saying, you know, we shouldn't have nuclear war off the table. It's survivable. What does he know about nuclear war? And so you can see it. It is a...
Sean Penn said nuclear war is survivable?
If you look it up, he's like, the quote's basically, a lot of people say we shouldn't use nuclear weapons in Ukraine or against the Russians. Well, we shouldn't take that off the table. And so that's the mindset of these people. To them, it's like a video game. And they know they're losing their power.
When Marjorie Taylor Greene goes live on Rights, RSBN, I think it is. We'll jump over, check her out, and then we'll probably end the stream. So I'm hungry. I haven't had dinner yet.
Before we went live, and I was writing notes, and I was like, I haven't watched this in years. And again, I was like studying. I was like an anthropologist, like studying some ancient tribe that died. And watching them all, well, he's old, but he's really smart, and he's great. And they would all like these talking points, regurgitating him. And I was like, but I get it. Because unlike an ancient tribe that died 10,000 years ago, they're still in control of nuclear weapons, so we need to study them.
So nicely put. If the hallmark of evil is deception, I think we can say that we're looking at evil.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're telling, if the
absolutely.
basis of your entire program is a lie, it's not just spinning it a little bit, it's a lie. It's like it's the inversion of the truth.
And they know it's a lie.
And they know it's a lie. Then
disinformation.
I mean, isn't that evil? What's the other definition?
Well, that's really it. We have to realize evil is lying, like in your own life. As I get older, I lied when I was a kid. I lied some when I was an adult. As I get older, lies have consequences. My whole life is now about not.
We're
ever
sticking
telling
around, Mac.
Like catching
We're sticking
myself,
around,
being
baby.
honest. My wife's like, "You look at that girl? Yeah, I am. Sorry." Instead of like, "Oh no, I'm not," because your mind gets trained to be accurate when you stop lying.
Yes.
Instead, when you lie, it's a disease, and then it takes you over. And these people are literally cancer, and they can find all this fodder and all these mercenaries that'll read their talking points. But as negative as it is, Tucker, you know this. What, 3-4% have taken the new booster shots? And when they rolled the first shot, it was like 70%. People are rejecting it. But there's the converse of that. The dying establishment, like when a woman tries to leave a man that's beating her, they're going to try to break our jaw in the parking lot. We're trying to get in the car. They're trying to keep us from escaping. And so we're at that
Not too far off because Maxine Waters wanted to go after Trump supporters, like we mentioned.
And, you know, the drunk mean, you know, is right there punching us in the face. But at the end, we're getting out of Dodge. We're leaving Egypt. we're going on to the promised land here. And it's going to take, that archetype of the promised land. It's going to take 40 years or whatever out in the wilderness, but at least we're not going to be slaves anymore. So we're in that process of emancipation right now. They're pissed. They're freaking out because they want control. Any fulfilled person is out fishing or hunting or hanging with family like you and I are. There's a beautiful sunset. We're having a great dinner. Play with our dogs, our cats, our kids. These
can't
people
believe
are not
it. He's in
fulfilled.
shock.
They don't have that. If you study globalists, they are the most empty. You look at Soros or Alexander Soros, I mean, they have nothing. So they're projecting their hatred, just like a Hitler or a Stalin or a Lenin, on us. We've got to realize they are mentally ill. They are sick. They are cancer. They're malfunctioning. We don't hate them. We just politically cut them out and separate them from the rest of society. And we're at that point right now of the surge.
All right, we're going to jump over to Marjorie Taylor Greene here.
Be trending right now. Well, I caught a bunch of flack from the Democrats. I mean, they were yelling at me, screaming at me when I put it on. But I put it on for a reason, and that's because these are the policies we believe in. Make America great again. Of course, I unapologetically support President Trump. And it was interesting to confront Secretary Mayorkas, was the first one that I talked to when I tried to hand him one of these pens, the Say Her Name Laken Riley pen. This is the pen, Brian, that I handed out on the House floor to many of my colleagues, Republican colleagues. Democrats wouldn't take them, and handed out this pen because today we also passed the Laken Riley Act. But I'll continue on and let you know how that went.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're just now joining us, welcome. It was kind of been a long evening. Joe Biden was officially about 15 to 20 minutes late coming out, and of course let the rumors fly that he had to get medically ready, prepared to walk down there. So we're glad you're joining us. We're going to first I want to talk about what the tone was. You've been to several State of the Unions. I predicted that this year's would be a little bit more fiery due to the state of our economy right now and the country and all the problems that we have. And I kept asking myself, what is Joe Biden going to actually talk about to inspire America and say that the things that he's done good? So, but set the scene, what it felt like in there, and as he walked by you. And there's amazing video right now where you confronted him. Walk me through that.
So the first one I confronted was Secretary Mayorkas. I want to start with him. The House impeached Secretary Mayorkas. Those were my articles of impeachment that we passed on the House floor. Historic. As a matter of fact, this is one of the only Republican accomplishments we've had this Congress. And when Secretary Mayorkas came walking down the aisle, I was sitting, my seat was right by the aisle, so I was standing up right there, and I held this pen out, and I said, Secretary Mayorkas, and he turned to me, and I said, say her name, Laken Riley, say her name, and take this pen. And his face went stone cold, and he wouldn't say a word, and he wouldn't take the pen. And then he kept going. And that was first when the cabinet came through. But when they announced the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and he came in, of course, he was shaking hands, talking with everyone back and forth. And I happened to be videoing him with my own phone. I had the MAGA hat on. I had my hat on. And he'd seen it as he was coming down the aisle. He saw me with it on. And the first time he saw me, he went like that. His head back and got his eyes real big. And then he said hello to some more people. And then he turned to me, and I held the pen up, and I said, say her name, Laken Riley. And I offered him the pen, and he actually took the pen, and he said, I will say her name, but he didn't say it. He didn't say Laken Riley. And he looks absolutely like he does not care. He looks like he could care less about Laken Riley. But he knows it's an issue for him.
Yeah. Well, it took about almost 50 minutes to talk about to even mention the border or immigration crisis. And it really took him a lot of time just to talk about what was hurting America right now.
That's because everybody tunes out after an hour. 50 minutes, 30 minutes, people tune out.
Talking about Ukraine and the fact that we need to fight Putin. And he's going to stand. It's never going to happen. He's never going to stop. He's not going to send your sons and daughters to war, which we've heard him say. We've heard Zelensky actually say that as well. So this, I think, to put the first issue you talk about is Ukraine, just shows you where their mind is right now. It's because it's a conveyor belt of money, our money, your money, going to Ukraine. He is missing the mark with America right now.
Oh,
Correct.
He's missing it
Correct.
big. It's not a popular issue with Americans. As a matter of fact, it's become a 70% issue that Americans do not want to fund the war in Ukraine. So of course, but this is a Washington D.C. war, and the establishment wants the money. Brian, I also thought it was interesting. He kept talking about taxes. And I yelled out to him, one of the times he was talking about taxes, I yelled out, Hunter needs to pay his taxes. Because don't forget, Hunter Biden is actually in big trouble with the Department of Justice right now for not paying his taxes.
What did people say to you when you say stuff like that? And you had a Democrat sitting right next to you. Mm-hmm. You told me she was kind of the whole time.
Actually, she agreed. She said he does need to pay his taxes.
Okay, well.
So she agreed with me. And I was like, well, good. I'm glad to hear it. You usually don't hear that. You usually hear defense of Hunter. I serve on the Oversight Committee, so I'm used to listening to Jamie Raskin constantly defend Hunter Biden in our investigation into the Biden crime family. But the representative, the Democrat rep sitting to my left, she actually agreed that Hunter does need to pay his taxes, and Joe Biden completely ignored when I yelled out Hunter needs to pay his taxes.
Yeah.
Cool kind of behind the scenes kind of look at that, you know what I mean?
Russia,
That's kind of cool.
That was the first coming out of the gate. It took them a while to even talk about the economy. It seemed like to me it was an attack on corporations, how he was going to make you pay your fair share. He kept talking about this. What does that mean? So far he's going to attack or tax corporate America. And of course that gets the applause from all the Democrats because they all think that corporations don't pay their fair share. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's where the irony was for me. Back to Hunter Biden, because here's Joe Biden saying the rich pay their fair share. He wants to tax corporations at a higher tax rate. Make no mistake. If Democrats are in control of the White House next year, they're going to raise taxes and they're going to raise it on everyone.
Correct.
But the irony of the entire thing, Brian, is as Joe Biden has talked about raising taxes on corporations and making the rich pay their fair share, his own son took in tens of millions of dollars from foreign countries, foreign agents, foreign businesses, because Joe Biden has held power in this town for longer than I've been alive. Over 50 years, he's held power. And so this family has gotten rich off of him selling out his political power, selling out political favors, and then he's lecturing about raising taxes on the rich. And his own son, Hunter Biden, hasn't paid his taxes and should be in jail for not paying his taxes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some of the fact checking here in terms of what he said and the reality of it. We'll start with the economy. He says Biden claims that the Biden administration's economy plan is working. Well, if you want to fact check that, the American people can't afford the Biden economy. If you look at grocery prices are up 21%, gas prices up 40%. I would hardly say that the economy under Joe Biden is something that
exactly what we said, right, folks? In the hot take,
of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now, and Americans need an additional $11,400 to afford the same standard that they had under a Trump administration. So the fact that he's saying this economy is so good right now, I just don't know any other way to say that's a bunch of crap. And he's trying to convince people that by paying more money, your economy you're actually doing well.
Well, let's talk about the economy. Democrats are the party of shutdowns during COVID. So it's interesting to hear him stand up there and brag about the economy and how well the economy is doing when the Democrats were the ones that shut it down and kept it shut down for far longer than it should ever have been. They caused businesses to go out of business. They forced kids to stay home out of school. Many people lost their jobs because of Democrat vaccine mandates and forced them to get the vaccine against their will, and that should have never happened. Here's some of the inflation numbers. By the way, which was so interesting when he claimed inflation had come down. Well, due to inflation because of Joe Biden, we've got electricity is up 28.6% since Biden took office. Food prices are up 20.8%.
Called it.
Rent of primary residence is up 19.5%. It goes on. Motor vehicle insurance up 20%. I mean, the list is on and on. Americans cannot afford to get their groceries, can't afford gas, can't afford electricity bills because of Joe.
Moral of the story, folks, Joe Biden gaslit the American public. We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was going to happen. It happens every White House press briefing with Karine Jean-Pierre, gaslighting everybody. He's sharp. He's fit. He's good. He exercises 2 hours a day. He's going to be fine. Everybody's bills are okay. We understand what the American people are going through. All this hubbub. I don't think it's going to sit well with the American people. He screamed at us for like an hour and a half. We had to hear him complain about Republicans for his problems that he created and blame it on anybody else and everybody else. Well, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Guys, we did almost 3 hours here on the show together. This was awesome. This was a good time. We're going to have to do more of this, and we will do more of it. For sure, guarantee, we're going to do the election night. That's a guarantee. If we get on other people's podcasts and shows, that's the goal here in 2024 and also 2025. But you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your donations and your time spending with me. I do have a great time hanging out with all of you, and I really do mean that. It is a blessing to be in your presence and hang out with all you fine American patriots. With that being said, folks, hit that like and subscribe. Check out our memberships. We do have 99-cent membership, folks. That's to get you in, get that nice badge, and hang out with all of us on that member-only show that's coming out on Monday. With that being said, folks, take care. Love you to death. And I'll see you next time here on The Bo Brad Show.